All right. Welcome back to a very special Thanksgiving edition of the Boston Boys Sports Podcast. I, of course, am your resident king of Carver, Eli Horrigan. Before we get into the best beer of the business, welcome back, Steve Fernandez. Stevie Stath, what's up, brother?
Nothing. What's going on, boys? Good to be back.
Oh, man, it's great to have you back. And also, we never want to forget the Beard, Kiefer Bontos. Beard, how you doing, man?
Thanksgiving weekend, 4 days off. I love it.
Oh, I know, right? Well, between Thanksgiving and I was sick and Stevie was sick and we haven't really been all back together for a while. So it's good to have us all back together. And we are doing a true agenda-free show here. Before we jump into our agenda-free, we want to mention that we are partnered with Jones and for Sports. We make sports better. Check them out on X. Check them out on Instagram. Check them out on YouTube. And also check us out on all the aforementioned outside of Instagram. Stevie at Hub Boy Sports, correct?
Yep.
And make sure you hit that like and follow on all our videos. You can stay up to date. First of all, boys, I just want to say congratulations to everyone this weekend. Penn State, huge win. Georgia Tech for Stevie, 8 overtime win. But the most important win for the whole weekend, even for you two, was my Michigan Wolverines beating up Ohio State, those losers in Columbus, Ohio. I was so happy today. I saw so many stupid comments about, oh, what a classless act to plant the flag, as if it's never been done before in college football. It's one of the great things that I see in college football. It's a way to just mark that you own somebody.
Yep.
I agree.
Yeah.
Ohio State. I needed that Ohio State loss today because I want to see how far they drop now. If Penn State now moves up, Georgia might move up because of their wins. So it all depends on what's going on, but it's better for the playoff bracket.
Yes, 100%.
I didn't want to play Georgia in the first part of the bracket. I just didn't want to. That's what Eli was saying in the beginning. Like they had the weirdest games where they've been down, and then they just come back at the end of the game and win the game, and that's the last thing I need for Penn State. So kudos to Michigan today.
Yeah, I mean, Michigan, what a crap season it's been as a fan, losing Harbaugh and McCarthy and Corum and Roman Wilson. We lost so many guys from that national championship team. And then they came out, I think they've played, in all I've watched, I think they've played every quarterback minus Jaden Davis. It's been just an ugly season. So to just see them again beat up this fraud Ohio State team, I was in heaven today.
I bet you were. You know what the good thing about you two is I've been sending this to you the last couple of weeks. You got the number 1 ranked quarterback coming into next season as a true freshman, coming out of high school. That's a big thing for you.
I'm curious to see if they redshirt him because I like Jaden Davis. Stevie, you watched the tape on him too. I thought Jaden Davis was good. Well, then I watched Bryce Underwood's highlights and I'm like, oh God, this kid is legit. There's a reason they went out and paid him all that money to come to Michigan. I'm super excited because as far as I'm concerned at this point, this season's over. You beat Ohio State, probably get a meaningless bowl game at which I'll watch because I'm a simp for Michigan. But this was just the cherry on top of a terrible season. It's totally redeeming. The one downfall from this is Sherrone Moore will probably be back, and I don't think he's a very good coach.
Yeah, that's fair, but you take the momentum from that win, and like we were talking about the quarterbacks, like they have that opportunity to have those guys coming in and riding the momentum from that win. That's huge. To know that you potentially screwed up Ohio State's season. I know there's a lot to happen, but that's got to be good enough considering the losses coming into the season.
Oh, absolutely. And I do want to mention one other thing too, because I've been talking about this for weeks now. We've obviously missed you, Steve, but Matt Eberflus has been fired. And I know I'm jumping around a bit here. We'll probably hone in on things, but I can only imagine that Ryan Poles was in his office after that loss. It's multiple losses in a row. And he had to have been thinking, like, talking to his guys, listen, he's our guy. Eberflus is our guy. He knows he made a mistake, and then cut to the press conference. I wouldn't have done anything different. That's exactly what we wanted to do. And he must have just been like, Jesus Christ, man! Like, how much rope can you hang yourself with? You can't go to the press conference and say I screwed up. You had a timeout in your pocket with 31 seconds left after a sack, and time basically ran out on you, and you say, "No, I wouldn't have done anything different." He is an idiot.
God, retard isn't the word for how he coaches. And I say that's bad. I'm sorry for anybody out there listening, but seriously, you should have been fired 4 weeks ago, and you made it this long. If he held the job after this, you were going to have a mutiny on Chicago fans' hands. They were going to be going to that stadium, rocking the boat there, buddy. So let's take it for what it is. He sucks as a head coach. He sucks as a coach in general. See you later.
But with that being said, doesn't that just fit into the Chicago way?
Oh, 100%.
Are they not the NFC's New York Jets? Especially with quarterbacks.
It's how do you have the number 1 and number 9 draft pick, and you get Roma Dunes, who was fantastic in college, and he's probably a good receiver in the NFL. We don't really know yet. But you got Caleb Williams, who was like the blue chipper. You went out, you got DeAndre Swift, you got Keenan Allen, you re-signed DJ Moore. Like, what more could you have done to surround this kid with talent? You have Cole Kmet, who's one of the better tight ends in this league. You have a good defense. How in the hell does one team let up a Hail Mary, a blocked field goal, a field goal at the end to win for, was it Green Bay, right? Or did Green Bay block it?
Oh, I can't remember.
Was Minnesota blocked it maybe?
Yeah, I think that one's right, yeah.
And then Green Bay, I think Green Bay hit the field goal to beat them. And then the very next one is the Thanksgiving Day game. It's like all the one team. How does that happen in one season?
The curse. There's something there.
Yeah, you look at it more and more each week, and you start to realize that it's not the talent on the team. It's the front office and the coaching staff. Because you have, like you said, you have all that talent on the team, and now you even got players talking about leaving. I read an article on Yahoo today about Keenan Allen talking about, "Hey, I'm done after this season. I can either sign with them or I'm going back to the Chargers on a pay cut to go finish up his career with the Chargers."
Jeez, I can't imagine DJ Moore's happy either.
No, DJ Moore's still having a decent season compared to Allen is.
So DJ Moore to me is an anomaly because I think he's a freak. I think he's super talented. But the problem for me with DJ Moore is he's a boom or bust guy. His numbers always look good, but he always has like 2 or 3 games where he goes off for like 3 touchdowns and 200 yards.
He's like a half-pointed Steve Smith.
Oh, I don't know. Oh boy, we got fighting words there.
Yeah.
Nobody is Steve Smith.
I said half-point meaning for a reason. His games that he looks good, he looks like a version of Steve Smith. In the games that he looks bad, he doesn't look like a number 1 receiver.
He looks checked out.
Yeah.
There are times where he looks checked out.
Yeah. So I just meant playing style-wise, height-wise, speed-wise.
Yeah.
He reminds me of a version of Steve Smith.
No, I got you.
He's a diet Steve Smith. But I also think it's like, remember way back when, like, Seattle was where receivers went to die. Like, Deion Branch was the perfect, the epitome of that. Jerry Rice's career, even though Jerry Rice is a Hall of Famer, he went to die in Seattle. Like, Chicago is just a place where players go to die. It's for a really good sports city. That team is putrid, and it's like we can say it's the coach, we can say it's the players, dude. It's the city. It's the Chicago Bears. They haven't been good since the '80s. They've been competitive for a year or two, but they don't win.
Isn't it? They still haven't had a 4,000-yard passer, and they still haven't had a quarterback throw for 30 touchdowns.
Yes,
Jesus.
That's insane. They're one of the originals. You know what I mean? Like, and their quarterback history isn't exactly top notch, but how is that possible to not touch those, especially in this day and age? Everybody throws for 4,000 yards. Everybody throws for 30 touchdowns.
Yeah, it's a passing league.
Yeah,
It's hard not to.
There was a stat, or it was either like a TikTok I saw or something. It was, it might have been before last season, but I think it was before this season. But it was like Justin Jefferson only needed like 1,000 more yards, and he would have the most yards ever for a Bears receiver if he played in Chicago. And he was in like year 4 in Minnesota. Like Chicago's receivers, their whole career have been awful. There's something about that team that they're just, I don't know if it's ownership, GM, but it's just like they're cursed.
Johnny Morris has the most yards in receiving yards in Chicago Bear history with 5,059.
Oh my God.
Do you know who's fourth on? Okay, well, we'll know. Like, there's there's 1 and 2 are older players. Number 3 is Alshon Jeffrey,
All right, that's what I was gonna say.
45, 49. You know who number 4 is?
Brandon Marshall.
Walter Payton.
Wow.
4,500 yards. And then it's
Brandon
Mike
Marshall
Pickett
5?
after that. No, he's 13th.
Wow.
Allen Robinson, Marty Booker, and another running back, Matt Forte. Matt Forte's
Forte.
ahead of him. Yep. Like, that's how just putrid receivers have been and quarterbacks have been in Chicago history.
Like in our lifetime, is their best wide receiver that we've seen Alshon Jeffrey?
I would have to say, yeah.
Like our lifetime, obviously Walter Payton's an all-time great. Matt Forte was a good running back, but when you like think of your top running backs ever, is Matt Forte even in your brain?
No.
I mean,
He had like if for anybody who played fantasy around that time, like he had that short stint where he was.
It was like a 3-4 year stint. Yeah.
Yeah, he was going to be a top 5 pick, no question. But when it comes to, all-time greats, no, Matt Forte is not the first 10 that come to your mind, 15, 20. You know what I mean? Like, no.
Yeah. I'm just thinking, like, even in our lifetime, like, is there a must-have Bears player for your fantasy team?
On offense, no.
No, Brian Urlacher, if you do independent defensive players, but outside of that, no.
Yeah, Bears defense back then, but yeah, as far as like an offensive play, like Jay Cutler is probably the best quarterback we've seen there.
Yeah,
and he pushed out.
I'm about to say, do you even consider him a good quarterback going there? But
Well, yeah, in Chicago, yeah.
Chicago history, yeah.
He's probably a Chicago Bears Hall of Famer. Like, that team is awful. I don't know why they're so bad, but like they're a team, even now, they have a good defense. It seems like they're a good defensive team.
Yeah.
Why would you not hire an offensive coach?
So you go with this one, Steve, because I don't have an answer for it.
I think that's a question for any team in the NFL this current day. I mean,
there's 8 of them, right?
That when it came to Gerard Mayo. I mean, we had that conversation then, especially with bringing in a young quarterback. I don't know why anybody wouldn't do that. And like I said, I think Chicago has to be cursed. There's something there that is withheld, like their ability to whether judge talent or just put something together. Like you said, the defense has been good. The defense has been respectable.
Yeah.
That offensive side, it's 40 years since they've been decent. I mean, Jay Cutler, like you said, Matt Forte, Jay Cutler, Brandon Marshall, like they've had a couple things happen. But no.
Like, would you be shocked if the Bears went out and hired like Aaron Glenn as their coach?
No.
Like, that feels like a Bears move to me.
Robert Saleh. They'll bring in Robert Saleh. He'll be the next coach there.
Brian Flores. It's going to be, I'll bet you anything they go defensive. When they should, I said this on the last podcast with me and Kiefer, they 100% should go get Lincoln Riley. I've been pumping Lincoln Riley for years. Why would you not go get Caleb Williams as coach? That came out terrible, I know.
No, I laughed because I remember us working together and you talking about Lincoln Riley coming into the NFL with a quarterback. So I know.
I mean, it's a very good idea, and I've said that to you before when you said it. The smartest move that they could do is get somebody that's going to be comfortable with him and not mature him, but turn him into what he can possibly be.
Now, okay. While we're talking about this, right, formulate a question for both of you. 1, 2, 3, where would you take if the draft was today, knowing everything you know, Daniels, Williams, and Drake May, where would you draft them? If you're the Bears, who do you pick?
I want Kiefer to throw somebody else in there instead.
Michael Penix?
No.
Bo Nix?
Yeah.
All right, we'll put Bo Nix too. We'll put Penix. Put all 5 of the first, and you can put JJ, but he's not even going to see the field until next year. So we'll take these 5. If you're the Bears going into this, like right now, everything you know, if you're the Bears, who do you pick?
Jalen Daniels.
Sam.
Jaden Daniels is 100% right. So then at number 2, who should Washington take?
Bo Nix or Drake May.
I say Drake May.
I say Drake May too, man. And then 3, you have to take Caleb Williams. But I think Bo Nix has been better. Like Bo Nix has been NFL ready. I mean, he's 27, so.
So I said that at the beginning of the season. I called him my offensive rookie of the year. I thought it was a good pairing, and it took the defense saved them a lot in the beginning of the season, but it took him a little bit to understand Sean Payton's ways and system and all that. And you can even see the little things they talk about on the sideline when they're mic'd up. It's kind of funny to listen to them too, but he hasn't trusted him, and he wanted that maturity to come with him. And that was a perfect fit for him. And I said that when he got drafted. Perfect fit was to him for go to Sean Payton. It really was. It took about 6 weeks for him to start turning it on. And I think, I said the stats last week to you guys in the text or earlier in the week, he's been the best quarterback the last 6 weeks in the NFL.
Yeah, well, rookie quarterback.
Not rookie quarterback.
Yeah, I didn't want to because
it was he like 14-2. He has like 1,200 yards passing or something like that. I mean, he's been really, really good.
Now
when we were mistakes.
Yeah. When we were doing our studs and duds too, another quarterback, since you said best quarterback, dude, Justin Herbert's come on.
He has.
He's really come on. I've been really, and I was hard on him at the beginning of the year because he wasn't even touching 200 yards.
Yeah, but that's exactly like another situation with the Bo Nix and Sean Payton. It's new coach, getting used to a system. And I mean, the Hobballs are pretty good with quarterbacks. So I think it just took a little time for Herbert to get used to him.
Acquainted to it, exactly.
Yeah.
The only thing,
I mean, they don't have great receivers there too. I mean, that's kind of another thing he has to deal with.
Well, I think what happens too when you go out there, they have those receivers coat their hands in butter before the game for some reason because Quentin Johnson's terrible. There's no way he's wearing gloves. Like, come on, man. Jerry Rice admitted to using Stickum. Just go get some Stickum, dude. He's like the kid in the Little Giants. Justin Herbert's going to have to rifle that into his face mask for Quentin Johnson to come down to something.
He did find a new favorite weapon, though, my boy Ladd over there. So that's Steve's boy Ladd, too. So
yep.
I thought Ladd McConkey was going to be a flame out from Georgia. I thought he was really undersized. I didn't think he was that impressive speed-wise. He's good.
Yeah, I wanted him hit just for route running alone.
Yeah, the route running is amazing. The way he runs routes, if you watch him play, like he's really good. Makes the cuts perfectly on time. He's a really, really good route runner.
And as long as we're talking about really good route runners from Georgia, is Brock Bowers perhaps the best tight end in the game right now?
Oh,
yes.
Yep. Without a doubt.
He is, dude, for a shit Ravens team. And by the way, the end of that game was super suspect. That was a false start. Like if someone wants to show me the rule where it wasn't, I won't die on this hill like Raiders fans have done with the tuck rule for 20 years now. But as far as I was watching that game, a bunch of guys are moving around still, and he hikes the ball. The ref at the top of the screen blows the whistle, throws the flag, and he's making this hand motion like the play's dead. Yep.
It is. We're Patriots fans.
Yeah,
like we were on the end of some decent calls. I'll keep it clean. This is asinine. Like what we have seen with the Chiefs is so obvious. I feel like I'm watching wrestling and not college wrestling.
Yeah,
we're talking WWE. You know,
Speaking
it's
of WWE Survivor Series tonight, if you were watching, it was on. I believe it or not, I get trapped in some old fucking Survivor Series around Thanksgiving time from when I was a kid. I was watching like Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior while we were getting ready for Thanksgiving. A different story for a different time, but yeah, it is. It's so blatant with the Chiefs now. Like you said, there was so many favorable calls that went the Pats' way, but at least those calls from a Pats fan, it's like, yeah, you can be mad at them, but good teams get good calls. A lot of these calls aren't good calls. They're giving away games to them.
Dude, Pat Mahomes is paying them refs some money, bro. Like, he's got to be doing something because he get it. Just the luck that motherfucker gets with fucking calls is insane. It's insane.
Does that make you question how good he really is? He's getting these calls, and this year he's been ass.
He's been bad this year. He's
Like
had
ass is the nicest way I can put it. So
Yeah,
that's like, even with the benefit of everything the league is doing for them, he still looks like ass. That's
So
not.
I said this to you guys though before. He has 22 picks or whatever it was called back, and they're not picks anymore. In how many years he's been in the NFL? Brady in 20-something years had 21 called back for him.
Yep.
21. That's crazy.
There's something wrong with Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs this year, and now this is where we get into the conversation of because I said they're close. I mean, you're watching. You didn't even get to digest the Patriots dynasty, and then the Chiefs are right there. But if they're this sluggish after 2 straight Super Bowls and 4 or 5 deep runs, the Pats did it for 20 years. So I'm having a hard time now. You got to kind of take your foot off the gas at this guy's creeping up on Tom Brady. Not when you look like this. They're sleepwalking through the regular season. We never saw Tom Brady look like this.
Never. That's why when everybody's like, "Oh, Pat Mahomes is the new GOAT," I get so mad because even though Brady was let go by the Pats and went somewhere else and played and won a Super Bowl, he'll forever have a place in my heart as a Patriots fan. He will never be the GOAT. He will never be Tom Brady. I don't care if you win 7 Super Bowls. He will never be Tom Brady. Ever.
Steven?
I agree. It would be tough. It would be tough, but I'd have to take everything into consideration, including coach. I mean, to have Andy Reid as your coach as opposed to Bill Belichick, a defensive-minded guy who's handling that side of the ball. But then you have Andy Reid, who's one of the greatest offensive minds of all time. I mean, if we're being honest. So we can't really argue that. That's something that's in his favor. If he continues, it'll be really difficult. But no, I don't see it happening. I don't see him passing Tom. It would take a ton.
It would definitely have to take a ton. And that you bring up a good point because I asked Steve, I know you're really down on Bill. But Bill defensively, there's no question about it. Bill defensively was fantastic. Bill, the GM, was awful. I don't think Bill had a lot to do with offense. Bill had success with one guy, and that's Tom Brady. Andy Reid had success with Donovan McNabb. He had success with Michael Vick. He had success with Alex Smith. He's had Holmes. He's had success. And if you go back to other years too, I looked it up and I don't have anything in front of me, but even when he first got to Philly, he had success with normal quarterbacks. Andy Reid has been a good coach for a long time. So is Pat Mahomes potentially a product of Andy Reid?
I think so. I think that has to be included in if you're going to sit there and compare Patrick Mahomes to anybody else, that has to come into play. Because even if you're going to use Brady's offensive coordinators, like Charlie Weiss, fine. But Josh McDaniels, what has Josh McDaniels done without Tom Brady?
Well, what did Charlie Weiss do without Tom Brady?
That's the same. I view Charlie Weiss ahead of Josh McDaniels. I don't know why. I just liked his style. It was different. But yeah, I mean that goes with that. A lot of people were created by Tom Brady.
Tom Brady is to make a comparison. Tom Brady to me is like Randy Moss for Dante Culpepper. Tom Brady did this for all these offensive coaches, like you said, McDaniels, Bill O'Brien, who we never won a Super Bowl with, but still Bill O'Brien got jobs because he was tied to those Patriots teams. Dude, you can give the defensive coordinators, all those guys, Romeo Crennel and Matt Patricia, everyone got jobs because the Patriots were so good. Tom Brady he's a career maker.
Well, yeah, think about, okay, who has Patrick Mahomes created?
Nobody.
Travis Kelce is good enough on his own. He would have been good with anybody.
Tyreek Hill's really good outside of
100. He was going to set records last year if he didn't get hurt.
Kareem Hunt was good outside of Kansas City. And now he's back. Yeah, no.
Okay. Now flip it. Who did Brady create?
Oh my
David
God.
Patton, Deion Branch.
David Patton, Deion Branch.
Malcolm Mitchell. I mean, Malcolm Mitchell was good before he got hurt. Like the list,
Kevin Falk, the list goes on.
Right. Like, I think
Kenbrell Tompkins.
Well, I think that kind of answers the question, does it not? I mean,
well, it 100% does.
I think so. So, I mean, if we could name a single person that Patrick Mahomes potentially created or helped their, made them more than they could have been, I guess is the best way to put it. But with Brady, I mean, we rattled off quickly and easily. All of us were throwing names out there.
Could you make the argument? I'd like to hear from both of you. Could you make the argument that Tom Brady almost created a new position in the NFL, which is the third down running back?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And it was one person. It was Falk. It was White. It was Vereen. It wasn't one person. I mean,
yeah.
Oh my God, what was the dude's name that went to San Diego?
Oh, Danny Woodhead?
Yeah. I mean, the names go on and on with that.
They would just filter in these little backs that could catch out of the backfield, and it was like
Tom Brady.
Yeah. What's the dude too? JJ. He was a little tiny fella there.
JJ Taylor, he plays in Houston now.
Yeah, JJ Taylor is another one. I mean, and they had guys. They had the Corey Dillons. They had the Antoine Smiths. They had Stephen Ridley. They had power back. Lawrence Maroney. Yeah, one of the all-time great backs. Another aside is Maroney and Marion Barber, right up in Minnesota.
Those combo. I loved Marion Barber.
But he's another Matt Forte to me. Like, he was a guy you had to take in the first two rounds in Dallas for a couple of years, Look, Dallas, by the way.
Julius Jones. Yep.
I mean, talk about, is there any way, I don't know if anyone from the NFL watches this. Can we find a way to flex Thanksgiving games? I mean, right after Turkey, you're giving me Giants Cowboys with Drew Lock versus Cooper Rush. Is there a game I don't want to watch more than that? I didn't watch 1 second of it.
I didn't either. I watched the Detroit game.
I was frying a turkey in the rain, paying attention, but not able to watch. But I mean, after dinner was done, it was like I had zero interest in Giants Cowboys with that cast. And then everyone who did watch it said CeeDee Lamb looked awful, like disinterested.
Oh yeah, he had 55 yards receiving throughout the whole game.
Yeah, I mean that's crazy.
It's sad to see. It's like last week with Justin Jefferson. I think I got 2 points from him in fantasy. I was like, 2 points is insane for Justin Jefferson to get. CeeDee Lamb has been like that like 3/4 of the season.
Yeah. Don't get me started about fantasy. I had to go up against Saquon Barkley 2 weeks ago. He scores 56 points. I was slated to win, and then he scores 56 points. I was like, oh, I'll go fuck myself then. That's fine.
And State alum, baby. I love Saquon.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys want to do more NFL or jump into a little basketball.
No, I do got to mention something because I need to hear it now. Stevie, Drake May.
Is it still within reason to say I'm waiting for teams to get tape on him?
No.
Okay.
No, we could use it because look, you could use CJ Stroud as an example, but still, for the product you've seen so far, do you see some hope?
I see hope. I do. The turnovers aren't great. It's been a problem.
Which we all knew was going to happen.
Yeah.
Especially behind this line. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
and considering the weapons. No, I can't even say that. I guess if you're going to say weapons, you'd have to assume they could actually do damage. The people that he has at running back and wide receiver at the skilled positions are what they should be. No, I'm more way more confident than I was. I'll say.
Okay. I had to add because I said it before. I said it to Eli. We've said it multiple. He reminds me of a young Josh Allen throwing those picks, and it just makes me hope that if you get the right people with the right coordinator, this kid might turn into something. Now, I think Fan Pelt still. I don't want him.
Yeah.
I heard the Giants are going to end up keeping Brian Daboll because they don't want to get rid of a coach again and have to do the whole carousel with the quarterback, blah, blah, blah. If they would have fired Brian Daboll, I would love to have him as the OC.
I think Brian Daboll will get a head coaching job before he goes back to a coordinator because he had a really good year 1 year with Daniel Jones, and Daniel Jones is absolute fucking garbage. He is the last quarterback right in the NFL to ever get that much time to see if they're good. Like he had 70 games. He's fucking terrible.
He already threw a touchdown for the Vikings.
Oh, I don't care. I could throw a touchdown to the Vikings.
No. He threw one. He threw a pick six to the Vikings when they played.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say I could throw one left-handed to Justin Jefferson, and I'm a righty. Like, just throw the ball near Justin Jefferson. He's terrible. Daniel Jones belongs in the XFL or USFL, whatever they call it. Like, I hope his career goes the same path as Johnny Manziel. I hate Daniel Jones. He sucks. And everyone at Duke football should suck too. All right. So now that we have a UNC kid behind center, I will say this to Steve's point to pile on almost. It is. We'll see the true test next year. But what we've seen, he's good. Like I've turned the page on him. I don't think it's a failure. If you ask me, I'm stubborn, so I'll say Joe Alt was the right pick. But I'm not upset with the pick anymore. To see like some of the throws he makes, he's got a cannon for an arm. He has zero weapons, but there's no excuse for fumbling the ball. I don't care that you're getting sacked a lot. Your priority is to hold on to the ball. So you need to feel the pressure. You need to see the pressure. Those are things that he's 22. He'll clean up as long as he keeps progressing. But there's no get out of jail free card for that. There is some get out of jail free cards for interceptions if your wide receiver tips a pass. Like those happen in the NFL. That sucks. But fumbling the ball, I don't care that you have a terrible offensive line and they can't block. You can't fumble the ball. You just can't do it.
No, you can't. But I look at the athleticism. I see everything in there. I'm going to take the growing pains for the next 2 years when the tape comes out and all that stuff is there. I'm going to take the growing pains and hope that we don't have to pick another quarterback in the next 3 years.
He will regress. Like Matt Ryan regressed in his second year. You're seeing CJ Stroud regress. Like it happens to all of them. I mean, you're even seeing Jaden Daniels in his first year with tape on him. He hasn't been as strong in the last few starts. It happens. But really good players get better. I'm optimistic because I do think like I'm pleasantly surprised with where Drake May is right now.
I agree, but I'm going to ask this question to both of you. So part of our discussions when it came to the draft, whether or not we wanted Drake May, happened to be based around the team. Not so much what we thought of Drake May, but what we thought of the fit was. And I was leaning more towards either Joe Alt to draft or trading back. More so than the Marvin Harrison Jr. type.
Yeah.
But do you now looking at it think with what you've seen from coaching staff and what you've seen from Elite Wolf and what the plan may be, do you think Drake May was, even with thinking that he's looked okay, do you think the future looks best with him? Or would you change that if you could?
Kiefer, do you want to take it?
I'll let you take it first.
So, like I said, I'm stubborn. I think building a team from the line is the smart way to do it. I think I'm not unhappy with the pick at this point, but given everything I know, Joe Alt's been fantastic this year. I think, you have Arch Manning coming out in a couple of years. I don't love any of the quarterbacks coming out next year. We'll see what they do in the next. If they fuck up the next draft, then you might count this as a mistake. You weren't ready for Drake May. They have to do something in the offseason to address that line. It's terrible. It's one of, if not the worst offensive lines. And Tennessee's right up there with them. But they have to go do something. If they do nothing to protect Drake May, you still can ruin him. Because they're not getting rid of Gerard Mayo, and they're not getting rid of Elliott Wolf, much to my dismay. But I heard it might have been Zoe and Beetle talking about it, and they made an excellent point. They said they're not going to do it because who are you going to get then? They're going to say, with this putrid roster, you gave a guy one season, and you knew they were bad, and you still fired them. You gave them awful players, and then when the team turned out bad, who the hell are you going to get to come in here and coach? They could barely find a coach as it is. This is the team. So if they don't address everything, then this might be a wasted pick. I'm not unhappy with the pick, but I still won't say it was the right pick.
So I like the Joe Alt pick, like you guys said. I think it's the right pick because you don't know if Arch Manning's coming out, and obviously not this year, but the year after. You don't know if he's going to stay to be a senior. He's only a sophomore. You don't know what he's going to do. He's a Manning. Anything can happen. I'm not going to put my faith in a quarterback in a draft class that I'm not a fan of right now, and possibly a fan of the next year, depending on how many people end up coming out. Everything's changing. The transfer portal changes everything for teams. You can see kids come out and do way better with another team than they did with their prior team. I just don't see anything I like for the next 2 years. I think that it was the smart move getting him. They need to do what Eli just said. O-line is the biggest need of this team going into free agency in the draft. You draft Will Campbell at 5 or 6, if we can get a pick there. At this point, you don't know how it's looking. That's the crazy thing about it. You get Will Campbell at your left tackle. You go and get a new guard, and you find a fucking right tackle and do something, because they need to move Oweno back to the guard position. He doesn't look great at either tackle position this year. Stick him back at guard.
Yeah, that's not a bad plan at all. I think you can address wide receiver in free agency. You're going to have to overpay. This is the market that we're in right now. And I don't know if you like who you like, or if you want to make a trade. Like T. Higgins is going to be there. You know that. I know that T. Higgins is a guy that, but if he's your best option, you might have to overpay for him. They could have overpaid for Calvin Ridley. I don't know who's out there, but you have to get him a real weapon. You can't go get Will Campbell and then bring in the Juju Smith-Schusters of the world and be like, well, we got this guy. You figure it out on the fly. But right now, their draft should be all about getting a young tackle, because the tackle's coming out, unless you go get the kid from Denver their left tackle, who I don't know if Denver's going to let him go. You're going to have to address tackle with Will Campbell.
Yeah. Yes, you do. And I want them to draft another tight end, because Hooper's going to either be gone or Hunter Henry not do what he's doing. He likes his tight ends. I want my boy from Penn State to get picks, Mr. Warren, over there, because kid's a stud. Kid's a stud. I'm hopeful. He's a stud.
Yeah. No, right now they're sitting at number 4 if the season ended today. But
which is great, because Campbell's going 5.
Yeah, probably. So it's line, and then I think it's playmakers. I think the defensive side should be the last thing they worry about right now.
Yeah.
Not that I think they're in a good position with the defensive side. I just think that's easier to fill and figure out, especially this day in NFL. And we've had these conversations. It's skill position plays. It's obviously quarterback. But the build that the Detroit Lions did should be the blueprint for everybody.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly what they did. And to go anywhere else. But I mean, that raises the question, scouting. Do we trust the scouting anyway? Because it comes to Baker, Polk, like you can say what you want, they haven't looked great.
No.
I mean,
Baker hasn't got a fair shake. Well, I mean, he's only been on the field, but Polk's looked bad.
yeah, true.
And I loved Polk.
But if they don't feel he's ready to play and they're that bad anyway, does that make it look worse? Or maybe it doesn't because they're just not good judges of.
I think his attitude definitely hurts him.
Yeah.
I heard it has a lot to do with him himself with the playbook, route running.
Now, T. Higgins, I know, Steve, you don't like him. Is there a receiver out there that you think would be available for a trade? You know what I mean? Like, is there because the reason T. Higgins comes up is because Cincinnati, unless they're going to throw all kinds of money at him and Jamar Chase, and they just don't care about salary cap repercussions, you know, a la the Boston Celtics, like they're going to let him go. Is there a team with I don't know. I would say Jalen Waddle, but I think Jalen Waddle got paid, didn't he?
He did. A funny name that I'll bring up, and it's going to seem crazy, but it's situation. The only problem is division. Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, Garrett.
If that's one of the things that comes up, I don't think it within division. I mean, we've seen it a couple times with, we love Drew Bledsoe. We've seen a couple moves be made within division, but like Garrett Wilson would be I would overpay in a trade to get him in here to grow with Drake May.
So I got one for you guys. What about Chris Godwin? He's on a franchise tag, even though he's coming off injury. Before the injury, he looked amazing. I said he would look amazing, but he played great. So I know you're shaking your head over there. I see your face over there. But come on, why not? Why not throw money at him?
The only reason why not, and I'll tell you, there's two reasons why not. Why not is he's going to be on the wrong side of 30, and he's coming off a major injury.
Godwin's only 28.
Is he 20? I thought he was 29 and he was going to be 30.
It could be. I could be wrong.
And as far as I'm concerned, at a skill position like that, at 30, he's on the wrong side of 30, coming off an injury for sure. But the other reason is because I have a name that's been floated out there is Debo.
Oh, Debo Samuel. That'd be awesome.
Well, did you get an age for Steve?
I'm looking at it right now.
Oh. But Brandon Ayuk just got paid. They drafted Ricky Pearsall, maybe to be his replacement. You got George Kittle out there. Could Debo be on the move?
Very well.
He's 29, going to be 30?
He's going to be 29 in February.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm not against Chris Godwin. I don't know why I have a bias against Chris Godwin, but I do.
Hey, fair enough.
I don't have any reason to because he was fantastic at the beginning of the season. I guess the injury thing worries me, but am I going to take him? I feel the same way about Chris Godwin that Steve feels about T. Higgins. Like Chris Godwin's had Mike Evans next to him. T. Higgins has Jamar Chase next to him. So it makes it a little like, do I think Godwin's a number one? No. Does Steve think T. Higgins is a number one? No. You know what I mean?
Addison.
Debo one's good though.
What's that? Oh, Debo. Now, what if? Because Kiefer, you brought this up, saying like, what if Drake May's good? Would guys want to play with him? And I thought, maybe not. But maybe that is something. What if you saw a really disengaged CeeDee Lamb? Would you trade the first round pick or multiple, whatever it took to get CeeDee Lamb there, or no?
Fucking A, Cotton.
Because you're not getting the tackle unless you can get a tackle in free agency.
Which there's a couple coming into free agency.
Would you do it? Would you trade them multiple first round picks for CeeDee Lamb?
Maybe not 2 first round picks, maybe a first and maybe a couple seconds, but I wouldn't do 2 first round picks.
I think it's going to take you 2 first round picks to get CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah. Well, we had this debate a couple weeks ago with the Dallas Cowboys get rid of CeeDee Lamb or Dak Prescott and get Deion Sanders as their head coach and draft Shedeur Sanders.
And I've seen that a number of places now too. Like that's popping up.
I mean, if he's going to be up for trade, why not try for it? I mean,
Let me tell you something. if there's a dumb owner on the planet to do it, it's Jerry Jones. But Jerry Jones the other day said that he's not unopposed to reworking a deal with Mike McCarthy, that's the same thing as doubling down from Matt Eberflus that he made the right call.
Yeah, no, that's the stupidest thing I think I've heard. Like,
That's crazy.
That's stupid. That's stupid. Nobody wants to play for him.
No, he's a terrible. Jerry Jones is a GM like Bill Belichick. Just stop. Don't do it. You don't have an eye for talent.
Yeah, that's why you won't see Bill in Dallas.
No, I don't ever want to see Bill again. I still revere Bill as a really, really good coach. Probably a top 5 coach all time. He went out like Jerry Rice went out. Like you went out so bad, just go away, and people eventually will just remember those great Patriots teams. And Brady will be the reason, but people will say, well, Bill was a good coach. But if you come back to Dallas or anywhere else crappy, then you're going to start being remembered. I remember Jerry Rice not as a 49er. I remember him as a fucking Bronco. And Mike Shanahan saying, we don't want you, just retire. And him telling Mike Shanahan, I love the game of football. I'll just be on the practice squad. I just want to be around the game. And Shanahan was like, we don't want you on the practice squad. Like, that is my lasting memory of Jerry Rice.
Oh, man.
Calling Steve Largent to see if he can wear 80 in Seattle with his cornrows that started behind his ears. Like, that's what I remember.
Hey, he's still the go to receivers, but we can't trash him too bad.
Not my goat. Randy Moss will always be my goat.
Yep.
Randy Moss, listen, Randy Moss doesn't need the stats. He's the greatest wide receiver of all time. Nobody was better than him. The fact that he took like 4 years off in Oakland and still put up numbers, like there was no one better than Randy. Randy Moss got Dante Culpepper paid. Randy Moss has the most touchdowns in a season. It'll never be broken because that just will never happen again. Randy Moss was a freak athlete.
No, he was. I'm not statistical wise. Jerry's the GOAT. He has every possible record he can.
Yeah, he cheated too and admitted to it.
Without Bill Walsh and the West Coast offense, no, nothing.
No, but Randy Moss was he was just a different breed, man.
I'm going to say this. Jerry Rice wasn't even the best 49ers receiver. It was Terrell Owens.
Terrell Owens he was a head case.
Terrell Owens was so good. The guy had 10 catches in a Super Bowl and single-handedly made that a game on a broken leg.
Yeah, I know. I don't hate on T.O. His decision making in his mind was the thing that kills it for me with T.O. He could have had it so good just if he had just shut his fucking mouth.
My boy was doing sit-ups in his driveway, just asking for a contract. Steve, who's your GOAT? Is it Randy?
Oh, it's Randy. GOAT. Randy. Favorite Steve Smith.
Favorite. That's fair. If you had Tom Brady playing quarterback in New England and in their prime, you could get T.O. or Jerry Rice. Who do you want?
I'd go T.O.
In the prime, T.O.
In their prime.
Prime, T.O.
Yep. T.O. Okay, yeah.
T.O. was a physical specimen. He was an animal.
All right, let's play this game then. We're gonna play in their prime. Randy or Jerry?
Randy.
All right. T.O. or Jerry?
T.O.
T.O.
T.O. Okay, because we did both of those. What about prime Ocho Cinco?
Jerry.
It's Jerry. But
all
right, Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson really hasn't. You can't say he hit his prime yet.
I can tell you right now, if you gave me Justin Jefferson right now or Jerry Rice in his prime, it's closer than you think.
I was gonna say if we've only seen Justin Jefferson not touching his prime yet, the league's in trouble.
No, yeah, he's the best receiver in the NFL.
All right, what about this? Because a lot of people don't realize how good Mike Evans is. Mike Evans, and he's a physical specimen. Mike Evans at Jerry prime.
I'm gonna say Jerry.
I say Jerry, but
I'm going Jerry, but I'm going to switch this up because there's a bigger one that nobody ever touches on.
okay.
Antonio Brown or Jerry Rice.
Dude, Antonio Brown, man, before Vontez Burfict put him into the loony bin, dude, he put up legitimate Madden numbers.
Oh yeah, no, he was a stud.
He was on pace. He was on pace to touch Jerry's numbers.
Yeah, if Antonio Brown didn't go nutty, and was still playing, the dude went nutty and was still good.
Oh yeah,
he got 2 rings, right, with New England and with Tampa.
Yeah.
I laughed because it was like barely any time playing for either.
He got 3 rings if you count Giselle's.
No shit.
Oh damn.
Listen, I love Tommy, but old Antonio put that one out there, not me.
Oh man.
But no, you're right. Antonio Brown, though, he was so good in his prime. And he had Ben Roethlisberger throwing milk jugs to him too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that hit really destroyed him. That hit was what his downfall was.
Yeah, I remember that hit plain as day too. That was just ugly. When you saw that happen, I was like, that's a Willis McGahee moment in time. You just remember, I remember them replaying that McGahee hit over and over again.
Has there ever been a better return story in the NFL when Juju hit perfect?
Yeah. Oh,
one of the greatest blocks ever in the history of the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what do you think about Ocho Cinco's block on Ray Lewis?
I love that. I love that video.
It depends on the story, I guess.
That's the best. Every time that comes across TikTok, I watch the TikTok on the train. Every time that one comes up, I watch it. I've seen it about 1 million times.
Oh yeah, he's like, I tried to hit Ray.
I fucked up, coach. I fucked up. I tried to block Ray.
Yeah,
but he tells the story now, and it'd be like, I railroaded Ray.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. That's a beautiful one. But let's jump in. We got a little bit of time left. Let's jump into the Celtics and some NBA talk too, because the Celtics have just been on a tear. They stopped Cleveland in their tracks. They stopped all that talk about Cleveland being the best team. How good are the Celtics?
Porzingis just coming back plus the icing on the cake.
And then, they were shooting the shit out of the ball in that game too, and they were ice cold at the beginning. And they're going to repeat.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I hate saying. I think so. And I hate that Porzingis came back this early. I wanted them to just hold him out. They were 14-3 before he came back.
Yeah.
It wasn't a concern. It wasn't a stress. I like seeing him back. I like seeing him get his legs, but he concerns me. He concerns me that you could have kept him on until February.
Yeah.
And it would have been just fine.
Oh yeah, you could have
rolled into playoffs.
We were saying, weren't we saying that when you were saying was it overreaction for trading for a big man?
Yeah.
And I said if we get Porzingis back, it wasn't that big of a deal, but they didn't necessarily need a big man to still be good in the Eastern Conference.
No, and that Cueto is fine too. I actually don't mind him at all. As far as a big man, he's he's this Celtics version of Kendrick Perkins to me.
I see him as Rob Williams.
Yeah, Rob Williams. He's more athletic than Kendrick, but I just he's a guy who I don't think his game or he cares about scoring at all. Rob Williams didn't either, but Rob Williams is a medical nightmare.
Yeah, no, I miss Time Lord though.
I don't. I was calling for his years before, 2 years before they traded him. Just get rid of him while he's got promise, and they did. They did it right at the right time. And I remember seeing Portland Trailblazer because I'm a Celtics fan, and everything reads your mind now in the media. I would get Portland Trailblazer updates on Facebook. People are thank the Celtics for this crew, and it's DeAndre Ayton, Rob Williams. I'm you have 2 of the most injury prone guys in the league on your team now. Congrats. You get to still stink. Yeah, we got rid of Damian Lillard, that washed up bum, so we get Rob Williams and DeAndre Ayton. Is there a more clueless fan base out there?
pretty fucking foolish, buddy. But
Terrible place.
back to the Celtics, though. Did Cleveland even scare you in a 7-game series?
No, not at all.
I don't think any team in the NBA does.
No. And let me tell you something. I know he just put up 30 last night. Darius Garland sucks. He sucks. I watched that game. When I was watching the game, he's an undersized guard. He cannot, against big teams, against good teams, he'll never be anything good. And I know he had a good game in the playoffs too. He's not good. He stinks.
It's if I had to choose a team that scared me, it would be Cleveland in the East. And I only say that because their ability to defend, especially around the 3, like Evan Mobley is he's so athletic, and then you throw on the fact like Donovan Mitchell can win a game by himself. So I mean, if I had to give any team credit in the East, it would be Cleveland. Do they scare me? Maybe they'd push it to 6 games. Maybe that's why they would scare me, but outside of that, no.
Donovan Mitchell can score, but then as you see, like 2 nights ago, he went like 5 for 22. He's also a volume shooter who, if he gets cold, like he's their only prayer to really scare. Like Mobley's good. Jared Allen's a good rim protector and rebounder. But like if Donovan Mitchell's not going to score, I don't, like you said, no one scares me. But I'm definitely not scared of Darius Garland and Evan Mobley beating the Celtics if Spider's fucking cold. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think there's a team even in the Western Conference that I'm worried about. Like I told you, I sent you that text last night about Luka and the Mavs. They played better without Luka than they do with him on the court.
They're a team though that. Go ahead.
Yeah, defensive side of the ball. If there were a team that scared me in the West, and I think as a Celtics fan, anybody would be ridiculous to say they didn't scare you, it's Golden State. Because the Celtics piss themselves every single time they play Golden State, except for the stupid 50-point win or 40-point win or whatever it was last year. Like that aside, the Celtics literally piss themselves every time they see Steph Curry and Steve Kerr. So that's the only team that would maybe concern me in the West.
Do you so 2 things. Well, 3 things really. Thing 1 about the Mavericks, you can say that about this year, but we saw they didn't start strong last year either. They came on in the end. Steve, what was their record towards the end of the season there? 14-2 or something?
Yeah, it was something ridiculous.
They won 20 games.
Yeah, they won like 20-something games.
Yeah, it was like 16-4 in their last 20.
Yeah.
So they're a team that can get hot. We know what Kyrie is. If Clay is healthy, he's a shooter. Like they're a big man away from being good anyway. Like a legitimate stretch big, I should say. Golden State should scare me, but I even think Steph's getting a little old. I agree. They leak on themselves when it comes to him. Here's a question I have for you. Did Golden State pick the wrong guy when they decided to back Draymond Green and get rid of Jordan Poole? Because I think Jordan Poole's really good.
I think they picked the wrong guy. I've always hated Draymond Green, and it's not a personality thing. Like I get the whole like attitude, and he plays defense.
Yeah.
But we've seen he's Marcus Smart, but a little taller.
Yeah.
In my opinion. So yeah, I think they picked the wrong guy. I think they've had issues deciding on talent and some of the talent they've moved. And I think that's definitely one mistake that they made.
I like Jordan Poole a lot. I think he's good. I think Washington stinks. And I don't even have to say I think Washington stinks. That might be the worst organization in sports. I mean, we can do our own list off the rip if we want. But, that is a joke of a franchise. I mean, they're getting blown out in games and benching them. It's like, at least let that guy just keep playing in the 4th quarter, because let him score so he can get paid somewhere. Let him try to make an all-star team because it's the only all-star game that players care about. Like, if you keep taking him out in the 3rd quarter because you're losing by 20, it's going to happen more often than not. Washington sucks.
Yep.
Agree.
Yep.
It
And
was,
as far-
us great as Denver either.
Denver like took a step back after they won. Like Jamal Murray doesn't look the same to me. Michael Porter
No.
kind of stinks. Aaron Gordon's a year older. Yeah, it's just Jokic is Jokic. But yeah, I mean, Minnesota looks bad this year. Like they're just that Karl Anthony Towns trade did work out for New York right now. As far as Karl Anthony Towns is playing pretty good basketball. I mean, New York doesn't scare me though.
No.
No. Let me ask you guys a question because I think you mentioned it before. Anthony Davis, is he playing that good this year?
It's 30 points a game.
That's what I'm saying. He's like playing like extremely well, and he hasn't sat many games either.
No. He's top 3 MVP right now. No question.
He is. The only issue with him is he's one sneeze away from missing the rest of the season.
Yeah.
That's I'm not even like joking. Like he could break his ribs sneezing. He is an injury away from we're not seeing him anymore. And 7-footers, it's the same scare that we have with Kristaps Porzingis. He's 1 foot fracture away from like being out for the rest of the season. That killed Yao Ming's career. And by killed, I mean ended early because the stupid Basketball Hall of Fame still put him in the Hall of Fame, even though he shouldn't be. But he only played like 8 years in the NBA because his feet, like big men, this is what happens to them. Unless you're Shaq.
Unless you're Shaq.
Yeah. He's an anomaly.
Yeah, Shaq's just Shaq's special. That's the only way you can put it.
Yeah.
No, I saw a funny thing about Shaq with Tim Duncan. Back and forth. Stats back and forth, and Tim Duncan. How are they calling Shaq how does Shaq call himself the most dominant big man ever when you got my list compared to his list? And I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh man, that list is really long compared to Shaq's.
I see what Tim Duncan's doing, but Tim Duncan wasn't a center either. He's a power forward.
Yeah.
But hard to argue, man. Tim Duncan's like quietly probably the best power forward to ever play the game.
Oh, yeah, I know. But to take over a game like Shaq did was just a different thing to watch. Duncan was quiet about it. Shaq was just, I'm going to throw it out there and be dominant.
Steve, I see you squinting and ready to say so. Who's better?
I'm a KG guy.
I like KG better, but who was
Barkley, Dirk? Like, there's a few names that could be discussed in that, and the best 4 ever.
Barkley was really good. I don't think Barkley and Tim Duncan because Barkley also didn't shoot at all. So if he's going down low against, almost 7-foot Tim Duncan, and Barkley's all of like 6'7", I like Tim Duncan's advantage. At least KG could spread the floor, and Dirk could really spread the floor. Dirk to me is a game changer when it comes to the NBA, like birth of the big man shooter.
Yeah.
I had a buddy of mine laugh at me when I said we were doing like a draft of all-time guys, and I took Dirk from my bench, and he's like, Dirk, and I'm like, dude, like Nowitzki's quietly, like all he does is score and rebound.
Yeah.
I mean, he was good, but
he was a good basketball player.
He wasn't Bird. Don't get me wrong, he wasn't Bird. But
No.
He was a solid Bird type.
Yeah, nobody. I'm not. Yeah, we're definitely not comparing him to Bird, but
No.
Duncan would probably be my greatest 4 ever.
I'm a KG fan, but the stats. If you're going off stats and accolades, you're going Duncan.
All right, I'm just happy nobody else brought up some other dude.
Which one?
The postman, because he likes going.
Yeah.
Well, let's just say he has a child with a child.
He had like 13 records.
Yeah.
13 records, I think it was.
Yeah, 13. Definitely under 14. He won't make my list. And honestly, I think accumulation of, however many years too. I saw a crazy stat. Let's get away from child rape. No, I saw a stat the other day that kind of closed the book on the MJ LeBron debate. And it was, I want to say it was like 30-point games or 40-point games. and LeBron's behind Jordan, even though he's had 9 more seasons. I think that was the stat I saw. It was a TikTok, and it was kind of like a eye opener of like, all right, this. Don't come at me now with this. He's played this many more seasons, and MJ still has any record on you. That's crazy.
No, MJ got a lot of records on him. I saw that thing too. It was like a post up of their stuff next to each other.
Yeah.
You look at it all, and it's like LeBron was never Jordan. LeBron was more Magic Johnson than Michael Jordan. And I say that from the way that he could play literally 5 positions at his height and pass the ball, rebound, defense, shoot. He was Magic Johnson. He was never Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Ever.
To spread it, to bring it to another sport, for me, LeBron was always the Peyton Manning, and Jordan is the Tom Brady.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Not to, I mean, Eli, you said simp earlier on. I'll go with aura. There's an aura with Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
He walks into a room and the room stops. Doesn't matter. LeBron walks into a room and everybody's kind of like, it's this guy, whatever.
Yeah.
It's just a different feel. And Brady has that feel. For me, Tiger has that feel. Wayne Gretzky has that feel. Where they walk in and you're like, holy shit. Like, this is
Tiger,
but
it's different.
You do it like Kobe, though. Kobe's my number 2 ever.
Oh, Kobe, 100%. Kobe
walked into a stadium, you got to be worried that Kobe's Black Mamba is coming on. You're going to get shit on all game.
Kobe was
a mental aspect to it. There's you kind of step back and you're like, holy shit. Like, all right, like this is different. If LeBron walked into the room, like, that's LeBron James, that's pretty cool. But if Jordan walked in, I'd be like, God damn. Like, okay.
And the last thing I'll say about it too is, and I'm not one of these people that thinks LeBron couldn't go back and play in a different era. I think LeBron is a physical specimen, but he's definitely, my mind is altered in the era he plays in. The guy's like 6'8", 6'9". He's a physical specimen. And I've seen plays when he was playing the Brad Stevens Celtics when Isaiah Thomas would knock him over. And Isaiah Thomas is 5'10" on paper, probably 5'8" in real life. He plays on a soft NBA. I'm not saying he couldn't play in the 90s and 2000s, but I know that Jordan and Kobe did, and I saw what they did in an NBA that had physical contact, and those two guys were dogs. And I just don't think LeBron's a dog. I think he's the birth of taking games off and load management. You've never had access to like private planes, dietitians, all this stuff. Michael Jordan was going out to casinos and drinking and gambling till 4 a.m. and then going playing basketball games. You know what I mean? Like Kobe probably took better care of himself, but like MJ legitimately was probably in a locker room with fucking Luke Longley smoking cigarettes. You know what I mean? And I don't even know if Luke Longley smoked, but the point is he's in locker rooms in the 80s and 90s where guys were smoking cigarettes. And MJ, remember MJ, his famous line is like, I don't have a gambling problem. I like to gamble. Like, this motherfucker was staying out all night gambling and drinking to take his mind off things and then going and dropping fucking, 35 points. He averaged 30 for a career. That's insane.
Yep.
Absolutely crazy. Yep.
No, I think LeBron could play in that because I to say LeBron couldn't is saying Tom Brady couldn't.
Yeah.
So like that's where it becomes difficult. But the argument that I always have, especially on Twitter, is, okay, you don't think Tom Brady could have played back then? Well, he would have been brought up in that. He would have only known that. He could have played in it because that's what he would have been used to. So, yeah, LeBron could have done it, but not in the way that, like you said, a Jordan did or a Kobe did.
And not for 20 years.
The mentality between he and those other guys is completely different. Like the jokes are always like Jordan and Kobe would have beat up their mothers to win a championship. Kobe, the mentality between he and Jordan. Then you go to LeBron. LeBron had to join people to get his. He had to go to Dwayne Wade. He had to go to this. He went to the Lakers and he bitched and complained and he sat out the rest of the season, his first season, because they sucked. He didn't want to play until Anthony Davis got there.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden it was okay to play again. Yeah. He's been built up by the Kyle Korvers of the world. He was bailed up by Ray Allen. He was bailed up by Kyrie Irving. Like, Jordan didn't want to give away that last shot. Jordan wanted that last shot. Kobe wanted that last shot. That was their DNA.
Yeah.
LeBron doesn't have that. He's had a couple plays. He had the block on Iguodala. Like, he's got a couple, one or two plays. But a lot of his history has been somebody else or him having to move forward. And that's the difference.
No, I agree. But we're all in agreement there. It doesn't take anything. LeBron's great. Like, there's no doubt about it. If you're the third best player in the entire NBA, the history of the NBA, you're a damn good basketball player. I just don't have you above guys who I watch, and I'd probably put them on a pedestal, but for good reason. Like, Kobe never wore another uniform. The guy he played in a league where you didn't join other people. The only team Michael Jordan ever joined was a shitty Wizards team. And people misremember his time with the Wizards. They'll say, oh, dude, he was so old. He sucked on the Wizards. He averaged over 20 points a game when he was with the Wizards. So if Michael Jordan sucked averaging over 20 points a game with the Wizards, what's LeBron doing in LA?
Yep.
You know what I mean? You can't. Don't tell me Mike sucked on the Wizards when he played there for a few years and it didn't affect his average still being above 30 points per game.
Yeah, no, it's two different stories. LeBron seems like he just has, like you said, the mentality of certain people. He just has more fun. He's like a more fun personality guy, like laid back. Like, you don't see him spending hours and hours in the gym like you would see Jordan or Kobe, or them yelling at their teammates in the middle of practice saying, like, what the hell are you guys doing type stuff. It was just it's a different atmosphere. That's why I used the example. Magic Johnson, he was all fun and games. He just played to go play basketball and have fun.
Well, there's two stories to pile on that point. Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen going after Tony Kukoc in the Olympics, and Kobe did the same thing to Pau Gasol in the Olympics. And to prove he's not my teammate right now, I'm going to go right through this guy. And Pau Gasol tells that story, and it's like it gives you chills. I just don't think LeBron has that. This is an era where everyone has social media and they're all buddies and they trade jerseys. It didn't happen. Like, Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, like, legitimately hated each other until they were forced to do a Converse commercial together. Like, it was a different league back then. This is just a buddy league.
Dude, I love watching that show, the Showtime Lakers.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You see how Larry Bird acts in it towards Magic Johnson through the whole. It's so great to watch.
One of the best documentaries out there, for those who haven't watched it, is Magic versus Bird, a courtship of rivals. That one is so good, and that it starts from their college. Well, it starts from when they're kids, but like their rivalry in college through the NBA, like, and then how they became friends.
Yeah. It's good.
I want to make one more declaration because I think we're going to call it quits. We're over an hour. We like to be right around an hour. You get going and you get talking, and it's just fun. I want to make a declaration. Steve hasn't been here for a little while, so I really want to blow his mind with this. Steve, Kyle Duggar sucks.
He's terrible.
I know. I'm just
always hate him.
He
From
is
draft till now.
He is. I mean, he's the pride of Lenore Ryan, but he is fucking awful, and they paid him.
Yep, and I said it.
I thought I'd blow your mind with that. I thought you were gonna be shocked.
No, I'm not shocked.
Dude, they gave him the cat too, but Peppers is coming back, so
yeah. Well,
I don't see for how long. Who knows? But I gotta throw one more thing out there before we stop. Juan Soto doesn't happen.
Did you see $625 million? They upped the offer.
Did you see? I mean, if someone goes higher than that, I can't say that the Red Sox didn't try. You know what I mean? Like, that's a crazy amount of money. Did you see the back and forth around Thanksgiving Day with Jeff Passan? Some random guy put it out there. Jeff Passan was like, "I'm thankful that people don't believe idiots like you just because you were caught sleeping." And then it goes on. Yeah, it was beautiful. Yeah, I'm all in. Like, the only issue I have with it is it's another big lefty bat. And you have Casas, who's a lefty bat. You have Devers, who's a lefty bat. I do want a power righty at Fenway, but I have no qualms about it. And if he doesn't come here, it's not financial reasons.
Oh no, it's definitely not financial reasons. He got offered what was it? He got it. Didn't he get an offer from the Dodgers too? Dodgers gave him. The Dodgers have gave him an offer. The Yankees haven't. The Mets have. So it's like the big markets have offered him. If the Red Sox don't get him, it's not their fault.
No, this is one where they went all in, they're still in on like Max Fried as well, which they need.
I heard that.
So I'm hoping it's an off season that they really go all in. I'm wearing my Red Sox, hoodie right now, which I love. Red Sox start. I'm all in on Soto.
I was kind of pissed about the whole Blake Snell going to the Dodgers. I was hoping that they were going to try to make a run for him.
Yeah, I mean the Dodgers are just outrageous. The fact that they offered Juan Soto and Blake Snell, it's like they already are stacked. This is what happens when you let teams defer money too. Like that,
Oh, yeah.
They should probably do something about that.
No, agreed. But
Nope.
I like the Soto thing.
I do too. Like you said, yeah. I mean, we can't be upset with John Henry next year. Whether they get him or not, he tried.
Yeah,
He
absolutely.
opened the wallet. So
$625 million.
it's a serious bid.
Worth it if you ask me, but that's going to do it for us, the Boston Boys Sports. Happy late Thanksgiving to everyone. And it was great to have Stevie back, and we're going to keep doing this, keep going with it because it's great with the three of us. Any last words, Steve?
No, just happy holidays, everyone, and we'll see you soon.
Kiefer.
Same as well. Happy holidays, guys.
Happy holidays to everyone out there, and also go blue. All right, everyone. We are partnered with Josens for Sports. We make sports better. Check them out on all the aforementioned sites. You can find them, and then go check us out. Like us, comment us, subscribe to us, and we'll just keep putting out this great content because we love doing it. Guys, have a good night.
All right, boys.